human mind. 600 miles of synaptic fiber, 5.5 ounces of cranial fluid, 1,500 grams of complex neural matter.
Okay, we played Psychonauts,
Yes.
which can best be described as what I would call an action-adventure collectathon character-driven platform.
Yes, with roguelike elements.
It's as close as you can get to a perfect definition of a cult classic of a video game.
Yeah. It has all the elements.
Yeah. And I feel like the game didn't sell well because this game is kind of ugly.
Yeah.
This game is aesthetically, it has a very specific aesthetic to it, and it's not very accessible, and from the outside looking in, it's purposefully ugly.
Yes.
Like, the characters look gross, their proportions are all weird, you got people with stretched out necks and wide heads that look like footballs. Their eyeballs are really shiny and kind of popping out of their heads.
Yeah.
And so if someone's just looking at this game on a shelf, they're like, I don't know what this is. There's a brain that has, like, the logo in it.
Yeah.
It's kind of unappealing. So I can totally understand why an average consumer or anything like that would not want to get into this game or watch it being played and be like, oh, okay, this isn't really for me.
Yeah. And I think there are elements of how this game operates and how you play it that are very unfriendly to the player.
Yeah. Yeah. But as far as a platformer goes, it doesn't really shine as just a platformer. I feel like most of its strengths come in the level design and the character interaction. And coming from Resident Evil, gosh, the voice acting in this game is like spot on.
Yeah. It's a step up.
Please don't kill us, lake monster!
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't think there was one character that was poorly voice acted, and I probably liked every single character in this game.
Let me tell you who I didn't like, Christian.
Okay.
Well,
I didn't like Coach Oleander very much.
he's funny, though. That's a good intro cutscene where he's like trying to guess his name and everything.
And then they retcon him in some kind of villain dude, where he wasn't really the villain, but now he's the villain because they need some kind of twist in the game for some reason.
Right.
That was, I mean, it's a video game, I guess. They needed a story arc. They did it. It was, I could take it or leave it. It wasn't a huge negative, but it wasn't a positive either.
Yeah. Should we talk about what you do in this game?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I
what
can
do
try
you do
to.
in this game?
Well, okay. So this game is amazing. So what it is you are Rasputin, who escaped from the circus because he wanted to go to Whispering Rock. What is it, like camp for? It's basically a camp for like psychics, like psychic children, and it's run by Psychonauts, who are these like secret agents who use their mind powers to save the world. And he escaped there because he thought his dad hated psychics, and it was causing this rift between them. And he was like, "Screw this! I'm gonna run away to this camp." And that's kind of the basic premise of the game.
Yep.
But what the actual core of the game is going into the minds of people at this camp and like helping them solve psychological problems as like a gameplay, like the core gameplay loop.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
I think that's most definitely the best part of this game, and that's where Double Fine really set themselves up for something really great, because these levels, basically, with this concept, they can do absolutely anything they want with the levels because they're inside people's brains,
right?
Which is great. Yeah. And then you can they also structure some of the collectibles around that, which is great. The figments are stupid. They didn't need those, but
I could not disagree with you.
Really?
Anymore.
Really?
Maybe from a gameplay perspective, but I think the story that is told through the figments, that is, and this is one of the main things I want to talk about, and it's one of the main strengths of the game, I think, is that there's so much detail in this game that doesn't feel tidy, and it doesn't feel like it is being, like, it's not streamlined at all. It's these little bits of story that you kind of piece together on your own that are not essential to the game, The game is not asking you to do any of this, and it's not asking you to come to conclusions. It's letting you come to your own conclusions.
Okay.
And I think the figments are a huge part of that because they are all like individually drawn, and they are all placed in environments in a way that tells stories for each character, like their own little story, just through these little images. And I think they do that super, super well. And I like collecting the figments even on this like fourth playthrough through the game, just because I like seeing them and how they fit into like these psyches.
Okay.
It's awesome. But also they kind of float through the ground, and then you got to stand there and wait for them.
Yeah,
and, like,
I understand where you're coming from. I see that you enjoy them from a story perspective.
Yeah.
And I guess I could see that. Well, the reason why I didn't like them is because whatever picture they were, it's like the main collectible in the game. It's like the coins in a Mario game, or not quite that, but like the bananas in a DK64 or Banjo-Kazooie. What's an equivalent? Notes?
But let me
Musical
stop
notes?
you there, Christian, because
Okay.
you're wrong.
All right.
Because you're not getting extra lives with these figments. You're ranking up your like scout profile, so you get sick new mind powers.
Okay. Yes, that's true. Yeah, that is a good way to do collectibles. Where when I was playing this game at the time, you know, the first time I played this game, I was much younger, and I was like, I had this itch for leveling up, and so whenever I leveled up, it just like dopamine rush, give me something, and then.
Yeah.
And then, like, once you hit a certain level, like, it's like every 5 levels, then like every 10 or something like that, you get a new upgrade to one of your powers or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is a really good way to do that.
Yeah.
That's a great thing that they did, gameplay-wise and mechanically, with how they made all of the collectibles kind of mesh together in something that, in a cohesive whole.
Yeah.
So you have a steady progression and reason to get these collectibles.
I feel like they screwed it up with the arrowheads, though.
Okay, the arrowheads are basically the currency. Now, how do you feel like they screwed up the arrowheads?
Well, I've played this game before, so I know what to do.
Yeah.
But they don't really let you know that you're going to need a ton of arrowheads halfway through the game. And if you don't know that, then you get to that point, and then you're like, well, now I got to wander around and get arrowheads. They don't really tell you that it's the only real way to do it. Well, they kind of tell you, but the only real way to do it is to go buy the dowsing rod.
Yeah. What do you need all of the arrowheads for halfway through?
The cobweb duster, because there's like a part of the milkman level, I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
In this playthrough, see, in all my previous playthroughs, I got to the milkman place, and I just got stuck. Because the milkman place is just crazy. There's, like, you're going upside down and doing loop-de-loops, and there's, like, all kinds of nuts stuff going on with that level. And I guess at that point, I just got overwhelmed and just didn't feel the drive to continue, or else I got to the cobweb and was like, okay, I guess I can't get any further.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you need the cobweb duster.
Right.
Whereas this playthrough, I was hellbent on getting all those cobwebs. So I wanted to get the cobweb duster as soon as possible.
Okay.
And the game doesn't let you know that this dowsing rod, because the dowsing rod's pretty expensive itself.
Yep.
But when you invest in the dowsing rod, then that lets you get even more arrowheads quicker.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me that you say that about that's where you kind of left off your first time through.
Yep.
Because I feel like that's the first level in the game, basically. That is the first Because, like, Oleander, Sasha, and Mila are all basically tutorial levels.
Yeah.
In a sense. And
well, my first time and going back, I really like Mila's level.
Yeah.
Because it's got this cute music in the background, and it's got this really fun, carefree atmosphere. Except for her secret that she's got stashed away.
Oh, it's so good.
That was probably my favorite. My favorite secret of the game is like it's this really dark, just kind of creepy thing that's just kind of snuck in there, where she worked at an orphanage, and while she was away, the orphanage was on fire. The orphanage caught on fire. Is that what happened?
Yeah, she was like getting groceries and.
Yeah, the orphanage caught fire, and she couldn't save any of them. So now she's like haunted by all the screams of the children that died in the orphanage fire, which is a really dark and emotional place.
Yep.
That a kid's platformer goes.
Yep.
And
so you go in there and you can hear them. They're like, why did you save us?
Yeah.
Ah! And it's ooh.
What is this game rated E?
I don't know.
Jeez.
But that's kind of what I was talking about, where it's like you don't need to go find that thing.
No. Yeah, absolutely. That's I really like the vaults that you open where you got the little slideshows that show a little like Coach Oleander. The first one you get is Coach Oleander, and you could tell that he purposely put that there so that like he purposely deployed that memory of him like being awesome.
Yeah, he's got like later, 8-foot long legs. And he's just like it's so stupid. Yeah.
That is awesome. And then this next one you realize that he was just like a stupid nobody that couldn't get in anywhere. And like the slideshows are so effective, and they really do a great job of just showing you the main story beats, and then you can just fill in the rest with your head. That stuff is great. Like the writing is just spot on there.
And I love when you do the brain tumbler.
Yeah.
And you get that one where it's like kind of showing you what's going to happen, but it's just like complete nonsense. Where the chicken comes out of the egg and they're in the teacups. And like the brain teacups are, and Raz is just like, I don't know what I'm looking at here. And you can tell things are starting to just like go crazy. Yeah. It's like, oh, the game's starting now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That level's really cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked Mila's level though, because like I was saying before, it especially playing it when I was younger, it had this much more upbeat, lighthearted atmosphere to it, and you're just kind of you're floating around because you get the power where you can jump higher and then float down.
Yep.
So there's a lot. The game's a bit more generous in its platforming in that section, and you feel like very floaty, and you're jumping around all over the place and going really high and going really fast. So I really like that part, and going through again this time, I like that part a lot.
Yeah.
So Mila's level I like a lot.
I think the whatever you want to call it, the levitation ball.
Yep.
I think that's an excellent thing to have in a platformer.
Yep.
And I think it's really one of the things I was thinking about while I was playing it is it's really, you don't think about it because they did it so well, but they had to design the levels around the fact that you can basically go really fast and jump really high and just kind of like, but they designed the levels in such a way that it's not just about clearing these platforming sections, so it's not like it's, you can't break the game in that way, but it makes you feel like you could. It gives you a lot of freedom in your movement.
Yeah.
I really like that about it.
Yeah, I never really realized that, but that is true. How the levitation ball, it's mainly designed for that one level.
Yeah.
With a couple of other areas sprinkled in. But yeah, they did have to very deliberately make sure that the game didn't break when you got the levitation ball. And I know going back to Coach Oleander's level, after getting the cobweb duster in order to get some more collectibles, the levitation ball definitely helped me out more get past certain sections. But it still was not a cakewalk. Like they have lots of like floating platforms and narrow places where it can be much easier to not use the levitation ball. Yeah, stuff like that.
Because it's very rarely a straight path you're on.
Yeah.
Except in Mila's level, which is why I think that's so much fun, because you can get going with this ball and like kind of test it out. Yeah,
and you can beat what's his name, Bobby? What's the
Bobby Zilch.
Name? Yep, Bobby Zilch, and he's got the gross.
Yeah.
Now, one question that I wanted to ask you: is this game for kids or adults?
I think this game is for adults.
Yeah. This game's got to be it for adults. I feel like if a kid plays this game, they could be seriously misled and possibly emotionally damaged.
Okay, sure. I'm with you.
Yeah, I feel like this game is made for people that are a little more aware of life.
Yeah. I would say this is more of an adult game than like Conquer is.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But like Conquer
is
like,
more like a 15, 16-year-old game where you're laughing because there's poop and swear words.
Yeah, but this game is about like, Sasha saw his dad fantasizing about his dead mom, and it like messed with his head a little bit.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Yeah,
that stuff screwed up.
Yep.
And all this is just in like one slide in a slideshow.
Right.
And it brings up these really like deep, depressing ideas.
Right, but the game doesn't focus on it, so you can kind of tell your own stories, and I love it.
Yeah, and they totally set it up perfectly. It totally makes sense from a story perspective because you're in these people's minds, and so these things are going to come up, but they're going to try and suppress them, so it's in something that's not very prevalent, stuff like that. Coach Oleander's dad was a butcher, so you see meat everywhere.
Even before you know
Yeah.
why, or because it's like...
Because they got to have the arc, they got to plant the seed where you got
Yeah.
meat plants, and then you're like, why are there meat plants? There's meat plants in your nightmares too? That's weird.
Raz, what the hell?
Yeah, why don't you just kiss her already? What the hell?
But this kind of leads into one of the things that I really don't like about this game, or that I think it doesn't do well, is the main plot is like one step too far in the direction of like crazy stuff happening.
Crazy stuff happening?
Like, if you try to describe the plot of this game, it's like... So, Oleander falls asleep.
Yep.
And he transmits his thoughts over the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fish takes the kids...
Yeah, you got the dentist here. You got the dentist.
Yeah,
who's,
the
like,
dentist.
built up as this evil bad guy. And he's taking the kids' brains. And he's doing something with them?
Putting them in tanks.
Putting them in tanks, yep.
And then
So you can
fight the
harvest
tank.
them?
I guess. He's a dentist.
And then he does an experiment on a fish.
Yep.
By putting a brain in a fish?
Yep. Or, I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to figure out what the heck's going on.
Yeah, and then like towards the end, I just kind of lose track of.
Yeah, because
what's
Coach
happening.
Oleander gets involved, and that's where everything just.
Yeah.
I lose track of what's going on because they build up this dentist dude
Right.
as a bad guy.
But everything feels like it's like disconnected or something.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, what is Oleander doing right now? And he was like in the fish brain, but he's also like asleep, but he's also like over here, and it's like.
Yeah.
And my first time through, it's kind of cool because it's like, this is really weird and mysterious, but like playing it again, it's like, I wish this made more sense.
Yeah. So you could get more out of it playing through it again.
Because really, the story is like each character, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main story is this really strange reason to go into these people's brains.
Yeah. And some of the levels are just freaking amazing in this game.
I agree, Christian.
The first few, Coach Oleander, you got tutorial levels, you got Sasha Shooting Gallery, whatever tutorial level. You go into Raz's brain, and then you have this weird coming out of the egg birth metaphor.
Yeah, you go into your own brain, and
yeah, that's interesting.
Yep.
And it's got like this weird visual, just like a bunch of crap happening, like nothing's making sense.
Yep.
And then you got, you're gonna have to help me out a little bit here.
Lungfishopolis.
Lungfishopolis.
Which is amazing.
Great. I love Lungfishopolis. One of the best platformer levels ever made in a video.
The writing is just like...
It's fantastic. The writing's fantastic. Just the concept is great.
Yep.
Yeah, you're having fun stomping around buildings. You're basically Godzilla to these little fish guys.
Goggalore.
And yeah, oh my gosh. Oh, Tim Schafer. You're genius.
And then what was the coach's name? It's like...
Oh, I don't remember. Something ridiculous that started with a Z or something. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So good.
And then the boss battle where he's like saying all his, it's like anime.
Yes,
and it's like,
that level's perfect. He's telegraphing his attacks by just loudly shouting what he's gonna do next. Where he's like, overly complicated combo attack.
Yep. Oh, and there's like news cuts that come in.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That level is absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
And then, so where do you go from there? Whose head do you go into next?
That's where you kind of hit the mid-game, like...
Yeah, that's where you go to the asylum.
Yep, and it's like you gotta do the milkman stuff so that you can get into the asylum, and that's kind of where the main 3 levels in the game are. Yeah. Is inside there.
So you do the milkman, and the milkman I like a lot because it's this weird quirky. You're dealing with what's-his-face, the guy outside the asylum.
Yeah,
and
Boyd.
He's just completely insane. And then that's where they give you clairvoyance, where you can see through other people's eyes.
It's so good, Christian.
Yeah, that's freaking genius.
It's
Giving you
amazing.
clairvoyance at that level with these people, it's just freaking genius. And the way that they set it up. Now, the Milkman level is very similar to kind of an adventure game.
Yep.
I noticed that a lot in that level where
Yeah.
you need certain items in order to get into certain places. So it's a platform. It's platforming with a little adventure game spin to it.
But that spin is like excellent because it's like these G-men and they're like, I
Yeah.
have hedge clippers. And like if you look at them with the hedge clippers,
Yeah.
if you see yourself through their eyes and you have the hedge clippers, you just look like a dude with hedge clippers.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so good.
it's great.
And
Oh,
like
man.
there's like Illuminati books in all the houses and you like go to the book depository and there's
Yeah.
a little Girl Scout with a sniper rifle and she like commits suicide.
This is
That
not a
level's
game for kids.
amazing. I don't know, it's for everybody.
But playing that level growing up, I was just so confused.
Yeah. Because
I
there's
was
so
really
many
confused.
there's so many references. Not like explicit references, but it's just like you have to know like JFK
Yeah.
and like, you know, just like all the it's so
Yeah.
good.
And you got to be a little more clever in that section with like there's the keypad, and you got to do clairvoyance on the guys.
Yeah. Oh.
And with the keypad, I kind of did that on accident.
Yeah.
when I
Speaking of which,
actually did it. Yeah.
the crow feather?
Yep. That's dumb.
Yeah.
didn't
What's going on
understand
there?
Yeah. So you got this hedge maze, and it's not even a hedge maze. It's just
No.
like a hedge with like 3 lanes. And
Yeah.
you go down one lane, it's a dead end. You go down the other lane, and there's like this little metal door, and then a dead end. And then in the middle, there's a door, but you don't know how to open it. And then you get a crow feather so you can see through the crow's eyes. And he's like sitting up at this like specific angle, looking so that you can see down 2 of the 3 hedge lanes. And I was trying to figure this out. Like at first, like your first instinct when you have like a hint like this in a video game is like, okay, what's the hint? And then if you don't figure out the hint, then I start thinking, okay, what does the game designer want me to notice by programming this camera angle in this way? And I'm like, I have no idea. I couldn't figure it out. And then I just kind of run around, and then I start hitting stuff, and then the small door you can hit open on the right side, and it opens the middle door.
Or something?
Yeah, that's how it works. That's how, and it's so silly. I didn't understand that little puzzle that was there. They could have done something completely, like they just had to like move something around a little bit more, and it would have been completely better. That puzzle was stupid.
I
It
think
was the worst part in the level.
I think
And it was
that
just
might
this tiny little thing. Yeah. What's that?
I think that's one of the worst parts in the whole game.
Yeah?
I think I stopped playing my first time I played this game when I got
Really?
there because I was just like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I still don't think it makes any sense. I know how to do it now, but it's not like
No, they don't
don't
set
know.
it up in a very good way. That the hint that they give you by letting you see through the crow's eyes, it doesn't help you at all. It doesn't make you realize what you're actually supposed to do.
no. It's
Because
weird.
not looking through the crow's eyes, you're probably just as likely to figure out the puzzle than you are
Yeah.
not looking through it.
But I think they kind of take that same idea, and the boss battle uses that so much better, like 1,000 times better, because you're in the dark, you can't see, but you can see through the eyes of the boss,
Yeah.
which is a really interesting idea.
Yeah, it's really cool, and that's cool. I think Phantom Hourglass actually did that, didn't they? Did you play Phantom Hourglass?
Which one was that?
There's a Zelda on
Yes.
the DS where you can see through the boss's eyes.
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't know. That game was dumb.
but the
We're
Psychonauts.
talking about a good game, Christian.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring up your PTSD. I'm sure if I went into your brain, that would be tucked away in some corner.
Yeah, just like the Star Wars lunchbox in the Painter guys. Oh, I love it.
There's some
So-
great stuff in this game. The
Yes.
dialogue, you can find so much dialogue just running around the camp, because the camp is the hub world. You got the
Yeah.
hub world, and then you're like tossing doors on people's heads, going into their brains in the beginning
Yeah.
for the tutorial. So you're running around the hub world, and you're running into all the kids at the summer camp, and they're having weird, quirky conversations. And the Russian kid wants his bear,
Yeah,
and then Bill's being a meanie.
they're all having like their own little they're kids at summer camp, so they're all having like their own little experience, and it's awesome. It's like kissing their first girl or wrestling a bear or
Yeah, it's
what
so
have
good.
you.
It's so
Starting a
good.
band.
Yeah, in the lodge.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good.
And I love how as you go through the game, time progresses, where it's like, now it's nighttime,
Yeah.
and like it's creepier, and there's like floating bears and stuff.
There's a tiger that'll set you on fire.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah.
Now, Milkman Conspiracy, freaking
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
and then you go into the asylum, and then you kind of get a choice. Am I right there? You
Yeah,
get like a choice of 4 levels? 3
of them,
You
but
get Crazy Lady?
which is kind of like the first one you see. I think that's kind of
Yeah,
supposed
yeah.
to be your first stop.
Yeah, you get Crazy Lady, who's the stage level where you got her little like stage thing.
Yep.
And you've got Black Velvetopia, which is the painter, the painter guy.
Yep.
Now, okay, we'll get to that.
Okay.
And then you have Napoleon guy, the guy who's a dork and thinks he's Napoleon.
But he like is kind of. Well,
yeah,
he's
like Napoleon's spirit like wrestles him and like imprints himself on him or something.
No, he's a descendant of Napoleon,
Oh, yeah,
which is a really cool twist on like crazy people thinking they're Napoleon, because he doesn't want to be Napoleon, but Napoleon's disappointed in him.
Yep. Okay,
awesome.
so we'll start with the Crazy Lady in the stage.
Okay, this is my least favorite level.
I was just about to say the same thing. This is my least favorite level. I do not like this level. This level doesn't really do anything interesting, anything fun. It's just Phantom of the Opera. What is
The concept is kind of cool.
So you walk to the lady, and then like, I think what I did was I accidentally shot her, and then she did like the manly voice, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's not her voice.
Or her
It's just-
muse.
Yeah, it's just a dude voice, and it's a gag that's done over and over. Like they've been doing these genius things up until this point.
Yeah.
And it's just a stage play, and then you switch a light that changes the tone of the play.
But see,
okay,
that's interesting though, and I wish
they didn't do anything with it. There's only 2 different
Yeah.
versions. It's happy, sad,
Yeah.
happy, sad, and then
Yeah.
there's 2 different sets, and then change it to happy, sad, and then like you give the lady different plays
Becky.
to do. Yeah, you give her
you're
different.
doing a great
plays.
job, Becky.
Yeah, it feels like this level was not what it was meant to be.
There's just no flow to it, because you do like the thing, and then it's like here's a cutscene where they
Yeah.
just basically tell you the story of Gloria, but it's like it's not really that funny.
No.
Or like it's supposed to be funny because it's like they're bad,
Yeah.
like they're bad actors or whatever. But it's
Yep.
like that's. I like the critic. I think
Yeah,
that's kind of.
Critic is the bad guy.
But it doesn't make any sense because he like sees the Phantom drop the thing, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, ha ha ha. But then you fight him, and he's the Phantom. Chris,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Ask M. Night Shyamalan. Maybe he can make sense of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
But-
the level just doesn't really do anything interesting.
No, it's short though.
It is short. Yeah, it was probably maybe the shortest level other than the first level, which is nice
Yeah.
because it's nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And which one did you do next? I think the one that you're supposed to do next is Napoleon Bonaparte. What's that one called?
Waterloo.
Waterloo. Yep.
Yeah.
Or Black Velvetopia.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
which one did you do next?
This playthrough, I did Black Velvetopia because it's my favorite level in the game.
Black Velvetopia is freaking awesome.
Yeah, dude.
The visual aesthetic is amazing.
Yes.
It's all black light, like party, not party. It's
like-
all like black light. It looks
Yeah.
like a laser tag arena, like
Yeah.
mini golf thing.
But like all Spanish.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And then
It's
it's got
so
like
cool.
it is really cool. Like the whole game's got that whole level's got this cohesive theme. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to help him get a bunch of cards so that he can build a card tower up to his love.
That's so cool, Kristen.
Yeah.
And then you do that by fighting like luchador wrestlers.
Yeah.
And they each represent like an animal, and while you're doing this, you're like figuring out that he was like just spurned by this jock in high school, and it's like
Yeah.
destroyed his life because he can't get over it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you talk to the dogs who played poker, and they're all like painting things, and then you take the paintings and you put them on the wall, and it
Yep.
turns into what the painting is,
Yep.
and then it's like it's a painting of a guitar, and then you put it on the wall, and then you climb up the guitar, and it goes boing, boing, boing,
Yep.
boing, boing. Oh, it's so good.
Now, it was a little weird how they introduced the mechanic
Shut your mouth,
of
Christian.
buying. They introduced this mechanic of buying paintings out of nowhere. This isn't in any other part prior or after.
Yeah,
And
probably
they
for
just
good
kind of
reason.
put it in there. And
Yeah.
so when I'm sitting there looking at these paintings, I'm like, okay, should I buy the more expensive one? Can I get
Yeah.
by just buying the cheaper one?
Yeah.
And then I buy the cheaper one, and then you need, like, there were points where I had to sit around grinding arrowheads so that I could have enough arrowheads in order to buy some of the paintings.
Yeah, but you don't need them all. But if you
No.
want to get all the achievements or all the collectibles, you need them.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where some of the really cheap figments are, because there's some where you just need a particular painting and put it in a particular spot just to open a
Right.
window so it can have
Right.
one figment.
Right.
But if you're not doing that stuff, this level's really great.
Yeah, and there's just this bull just like
Yeah.
charging through the level the entire time.
Yeah, and he's just running around in the middle, and you got to beat him all the time.
And it's I love it. Because there's like different ways to get past this bull for each like section of street.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
I
That
love
looks
it.
great.
And then like the boss is like a luchador fight
Yep.
with like the actual like luchador darts that they like
Yeah.
or the spears.
Yep.
And then it's just awesome because he's like he can finally let go and he just drops him into the abyss and they high five.
Yeah, it's great. It's a
awesome.
great time.
I love it.
And then you got Waterloo,
Yep.
which is a giant board game.
Oh, it's so cool too, Christian.
It is really cool. Because, okay, you start out, and then it's just the wannabe Napoleon and Napoleon.
And they're fighting.
Yeah, they're
playing
arguing.
this game. Yeah.
Because Napoleon's disappointed in his son?
No, it's like
No,
whatever.
yeah.
Great-great-grandson.
Great-great-grandson.
Yeah.
Because he's not strategic enough.
Yep.
And he sucks at the board game. And he's like, oh, I don't care. I suck at the board game. I suck at strategy. I don't care.
That's a pretty good impersonation.
And then now there's a ladder next to the board game.
Uh-huh.
And then you climb up the ladder, and then you shrink and you climb down into the board game.
Uh-huh.
And that's pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah. And it's like a cool game.
Yeah.
This isn't shoots and ladders. This is like it's like a hex-based like strategy game they're playing.
Yeah, it's almost like Civilization.
Yeah.
Like you're just dropping down in the middle of like a really simple little Civilization game.
Yeah, but it's not like, I mean, it's linear. You're doing this set of actions to win the game, but it's cool because it's like you're actually talking to like the farmer who has a little plot of land, and he's like, "I'll help you fight if you do blah 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 blah," and then you do that, and then he becomes a piece that you can actually move around the board.
Yeah, see that's
Is this where I lose you?
Sets it apart. No, that's where it does a good job.
Oh,
because
okay.
you can actually move the pieces. You see, this is something that any lesser game would just ignore. It would be like, okay, the piece is there.
Right.
But this game, you got to move the piece to the spot it's got to go.
It's pretty awesome.
And that just solidified this whole level for me. I'm like, man, this level's great.
Yep.
Because they didn't have to like each individual square like lights up as if you can move it there, you can't move it there. It's like they built in this like whole board game thing into this engine.
Right.
Just for a fraction of one level of this game.
It's pretty awesome.
It is really cool.
And sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
My favorite part of the whole level is you can actually. This blows my mind. You can. There's a castle, and you can climb up to the window, and inside the castle, is Napoleon and little Napoleon, and they're like, if you go back out to where they're sitting, you can look out the window, and it's the board game outside. And it's just like
I didn't realize that you can look out the window and the board game's out there.
It's an infinite recursion.
Oh my gosh.
It's awesome.
How'd they had to do this with portals.
Exactly. Now you're thinking with portals.
Cha-ching. That level's really awesome.
Yes.
So stage level, I don't care about.
Bad.
Stage level, bad. Almost every other level just freaking great.
Good.
Sasha's shooting gallery.
Yeah, that's the other one that's kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Oleander's gets away with what it does because it's a tutorial level, and you kind of go in like the plane, and you get to
that's
jump
one of
out
my
of the plane.
favorite parts.
That is really cool.
Because he's telling the story.
Yeah.
Except I accidentally skipped it this time, but he's just like, he just goes and he tells a story, and then he gives Lady a bone, and then he flies out of the airplane.
Yeah. Oh, I love that kid.
It's so good.
Oh, man.
Can I talk about some other things I really love?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
What else do you love about this game? Go ahead.
I love your mentor.
Mentor? What do you mean?
The old guy who.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I love his character arc, if you want to call it that, or like his background, which is that he is like the greatest psychonaut in the world, but his mind is starting to go. But there's this meteorite of psychic energy, Titanium, underneath the camp. So if he's not by that rock, he thinks he's like a caretaker or like a boatman or whatever. But
he loses his mind.
Yeah, but you can like talk to him and he's like, "How you doing there, little boy?" And then if you go, because he's got like this whole underground network of like carts that talk to him with a like sexy lady voice.
Yeah.
And you go to his like chamber and he's got like, screens with like secret agents spinning around all over and the music's awesome. And he's got like this whole command center, and if he's there by the rock, then he's like, "Agent Raz, I blah 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 blah. Here's how you use your psychic powers."
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's got like the little backpack rock, so he can walk around and still be him.
Yeah. That's how that happens. Because when I first thought, I was like, didn't you just set this up so that you couldn't do that?
Yep.
And I was like, okay, fair enough,
yeah.
Tim Schafer, fair enough.
But all you just wiggle bacon in front of you, and then it pops out of your ear.
Yeah. This game is. Don't let your like 5-6-year-old kids play this.
No.
They're gonna get very confused and probably psychologically traumatized.
I'm trying to think what the most disturbing part of this game would be.
It's just so wacky. Like the kid, it doesn't have a.
It's unsettling.
It goes lots of different places.
Yeah.
That it might be another reason why this game isn't like extremely accessible.
Yeah.
But the game's freaking great. The game is great stuff.
To counterpoint what you're saying.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really like about this game is that it's very warm-hearted and it is very fair to the people in it.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, Oleander is the villain, in a sense, but you also learn why he is the way he is, and he's got this redemptive arc where you kind of... His arc isn't the greatest, but at the the point is at the end, he's like, you don't kill him or anything. He's like, okay, I'm sorry I did what I did, and now I'm back on the team. And, like, they walk such a fine line because they're talking about like mental health and like it would have been really easy for this game to be really gross and like not gross in like a gross way, but like not palatable, I guess. Where it's like, oh, these people are bad because they have mental problems.
Yeah.
But they never do that because they have this like appreciation for these people and their problems, and you help them with their problems and you understand their problems, and that's all part of playing the game.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And the game has some very good heartfelt messages, like you were saying, where when you go into the last level, your mind and Coach Oleander's mind are like mixed up in this weird fever dream of the meat circus.
It's so weird. And
like your dad and his dad are kind of like the antagonists of this mind world. And it's kind of just, oh, my dad or Raz's dad was evil, but then his actual dad shows up. And he's like, oh, hey, what are you talking about? I didn't want you to be a sidekick. I want you to be a sidekick. I'm here to help you kill your evil dad that you thought was me. You really think I'm like that?
I hate psychics, yeah. But his dad is like a psychic too.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like a lesser game would have just been like, yeah, his dad was really mean to him. Because, like, parents suck, kids are cool. Where this game is, this game knows what it's doing with this story. They're putting the stuff there because that's where they want that stuff.
Right.
But Coach Oleander's dad's just a butthole.
Yeah, he's just a butcher.
Yeah.
He sounds awesome. His voice is awesome. He looks awesome.
He killed his little bunny.
Yeah. What did you just think of the meat circus? Because it's very divisive.
There are certain sections that just really ticked me off.
Okay.
And I believe most of that is due in part to the fact that the PS2 port, or on the PS4 is where I played it, is absolutely horrendous.
Okay.
Because this level is where the game crashed on me 6 out of the 11 times that it crashed, was just this final level.
Yikes.
And it was just like going into different sections, the game would like stop and be like, all right, we're crashing right now.
Really? Did it give you like the crash message?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. The screen would pop up and be like, yeah. And then the loading bar took way long to, like, the loading bar that shows up after the thing crashes. That was ridiculous. And then the game, now the double jump, every time you double jump, this little animation thing pops up where you're like jumping on this little psychic ball of energy.
Right.
And apparently the PS2 hardware cannot handle the rendering of this psychic ball of energy and the physics that it inhabits, because every time you double jump, the game lags just this little bit. So you kind of have to get this weird wonky timing down where you like
God.
double jump, anticipate the lag of the jump, like slowing down the frame rate, and then getting back ready for when the frame rate speeds back up again so you can actually do your jump. And the frame rate's absolute crap on top of that.
Uh-huh.
And the shadows and draw distance are absolutely terrible. So like 50% of the time Raz doesn't have a shadow, so you can't tell where you're really jumping.
Yep.
So there was a part where you're doing it was Psy floating, and your dad's like throwing stuff at you. Your evil dad's throwing stuff at you, and you got to like navigate through a couple of things, like a couple of rings, and then you got to jump over it on this tightrope. That part maybe took me... It doesn't make you lose a life when you fall off, but I probably fell off 25, 30 times just trying to get through that part. So that part ended up taking me like an hour and a half when it should have taken me like 20 minutes.
Yeah, because I got stuck on that part too. Maybe not for the same reason, but I think you're talking about the part where there's like bubbles coming out of these horns.
And you got the fire rings you got to go into,
Yep. After that, there's a part where you have to do the like swing, or the whatever you want to call it, where you rotate on the pole and then jump.
Yep.
And the final one, because there's like meat cleavers.
The meat cleavers. Oh, screw the meat cleavers. Yep.
But either the physics were off or like the timing or something, but every time I would jump off that last pole, no matter where that meat cleaver was in the animation, I would just drop down immediately. Yeah, I feel like when I was doing that part, I felt like the way Raz swung around, usually the timing is offset with your swing animation with the cleaver animation. But I think it was almost exactly lined up. So you could sit there and swing around forever, and the cleavers wouldn't offset with how you're swinging around. Right. So you would have to like actively stop and then go again and just hope you were lucky enough so that your animation was offset with the cleaver animation. Yeah. That was weird. Like, the ending level just turns into this weird thing where there's this platforming junk that they throw in there. The really cheap stuff. Despite that, I like the Meat Circus. I think it's a cool level.
And then you got a baby Coach Oleander and his stupid rabbit.
Yeah,
he didn't die on me. It was pretty lenient. But that might have been because I had like the Psy bullet thing that would ricochet off everyone.
Right. But you're not... It's not really an escort quest. You're just... It's like this time pressure on you to get to a certain point in the level. Yeah,
that's only for part of it.
I don't know. I love the idea of the Meat Circus, I guess. I love that it's like this, like... Raz is a carny, and, like, you're, like, messed up with this brain of this, like, child, basically, and it's just, like, all coming together in this, like, insane obstacle course of your brain at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I liked it. And I really like the boss battle. I like how it, like, progresses. And then, like, through the power of friendship with your dad, you become, like, this, like, psionic beast.
Yeah, you become all suave.
Yeah. Oh, and then he takes the hat off at the end, and he's just like a dude.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He really is a psychonaut.
Yeah. God, what a game.
It's a good time. It's got some freaking phenomenal levels.
Yep.
Really, really good levels.
Levels that I don't think I'll ever, like, forget.
No.
Which is, like... Yeah.
Levels that I don't think would be possible in any other video game.
Right. But they make perfect sense in Psychonauts.
Yeah.
That's just so good.
It's a good time.
So, was there anything else you wanted to say about it?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered most of the main bases.
Okay, so now we are to the point on the show where is this game better than Resident Evil, Kristen?
Oh, I guess so. I mean, yeah.
I certainly think it is, but I would take arguments against it.
I don't think there's anything. I don't even think there's anything Resident Evil does better than this game. Maybe tension.
Yeah.
It's in a different genre, so.
Resident Evil doesn't have a part where you have to run slowly on the bottom of a lake. Yeah. Which we didn't talk about at all, but that part sucks.
That does. That part where you got a platform and then the camera's controlled for you?
Yep.
And there was one part where I think the game... I forgot exactly what I was supposed to do. I don't even remember, but I ended up dying 5 times because the camera was angled in such a way that I felt like it wanted to make me wanted me to make this blind jump off a ledge.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, the first 7-8 times I did the jump off the ledge, it didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then I think the last time I waited until the game was about to kill me because I didn't move yet, and then I could actually see where I was supposed to go down there.
Weird.
Yeah, that part was silly. But it led up to the lungfish
Yeah.
level, which is great.
I just have to mention, I think the justification for you not being able to go in water is one of the best justifications.
Yeah, because you're cursed.
Yeah, you have a family curse that
Family
you can't
curse.
go in water. So this hand comes out of the water and tries to grab you.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
it's one of Tim Schafer's justifications for making a sequel, he said.
Why?
He said, we put a bunch of little things in the Psychonauts 1 that we didn't really follow up on a whole lot. We just
No.
planted these seeds. So, like, the family
No.
curse about being afraid of water, that's something that we kind of just put in Psychonauts, and then everyone just kind of forgot about it. So, we might be able to kind of elaborate that on that. On the sequel.
I just said I like this game because it doesn't do that, Tim.
But
Aren't you listening to me?
you got to buy PSVR so you can play the
Whatever.
what's it called? The Rhombus of Ruin. Because it's
great.
like the Bermuda Triangle, except alliteration with the R's.
I want to die.
Coach Oleander can look at you for reals with your shiny eyes. You can really kiss what's-her-face?
Lily or whatever?
Lily? Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You can be Raz.
That's a cute romance.
It's adorable.
That's a cute little thing.
I like the one kid who's like likes the girl, and then they're like going out, and then one time you talk to him, and he's like, "What? Oh yeah, there's a trophy. There's a trophy. You get the cute little turtle."
Yeah. Mr. Puffy Lumps or whatever.
Crap. Yeah, I forget his name, but he's
Pokelope.
Pokelope. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Pokelope. And then the crazy lady's like, "Yeah, Pokelope will tell us what to do." And then there's a trophy.
She-Core.
There's
Yep.
this trophy for some reason. Instead of taking Pokelope to the lady because she's like right there, you got to go
Yeah.
all the way back and then show it to every single kid
Oh, wow.
who is re-brained, who has all their brains back in them. So you need to make
Yeah.
sure that all the kids have their brains back,
Yep.
and then you need to take Pokelope and then go all the way back and then show them to every single kid.
Right.
But anyway, you go to that one kid and then he's like, "Why are you showing me a turtle? All I care about is girls. Why does that have nothing to do with girls?" And the girl's like, "Wow, he is so single-minded."
One of the kids is a fish, Christian. It's just a fish with a diving helmet on.
Who's
Or
dating
like a
the bully guy?
Space helmet. God. Just an
And
incredible game.
Oh yeah, and then she's like, that girl's like, "Hey, don't you?" When you show her the turtle, she's like, "Don't you know that turtles have a shell so that they can be protected from the transition into the Earth's atmosphere and survive the fall?" And Raz is like, "Yeah, everybody knows that." See, there's so much dialogue in this game that you just wouldn't know.
That's crazy.
You just wouldn't know. I'm sure I didn't hear half of it.
Yeah?
It's a good time.
It is a good time. So, I just like basking in it. I'll probably play it again in a year or two. I just
Yeah?
kind of play it every couple of years.
One of those games you go back to.
Yep.
That's
I
how
love
you know
it.
it's a goodie.
Yep.
Just skip the stage level. Don't do that one.
Yep. Cheat code.
Yep. Got the
Rosebud.
Bring the Steam console.
Skip it.
Amen.
Okay, so official ranking then is Psychonauts, and then Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next time with Metroid Prime, it sounds like.
Yeah. Talk about slowly moving in water.
Just don't be in the water. Just don't be in the water, Christian.